Hello everyone, and welcome back. So far in this series, we've learned what hypnotherapy is. We've looked at the historical debates about what it means, and we've discussed hypnotizability, why some people respond more strongly than others. Today, we're going to get very practical. We're going to look at the mechanisms of action, what actually happens in a hypnotic session, step by step, and how those processes work in the mind and body. The operational definition of hypnosis. First, let's define hypnosis in operational terms, meaning what it looks like in practice. Hypnosis usually begins with an induction. This is a process that draws the person into a state of absorption and focused attention, often accompanied by relaxation. In this state, spontaneous thoughts begin to quiet down. The mind becomes less busy, less distracted, and more open to directed experience. Once induction is achieved, clients can experience a wide variety of phenomena, alterations in sensation, such as feeling warmth, heaviness, or numbness, changes in memory, such as temporary amnesia, or the creation of vivid images, shifts in belief, like accepting the suggestion that one's arm feels weightless, changes in motor control, such as being unable to move a limb temporarily. These are not tricks or illusions. They are genuine shifts in experience that arise from the mind's capacity to focus and accept suggestion. The power of suggestions. At the heart of hypnosis are suggestions, the carefully crafted verbal or nonverbal cues given by the therapist. Suggestions can be direct, such as, "Your arm feels light as a feather." Indirect, which are more subtle, often couched in metaphors, stories, or symbols. Skilled hypnotists also use language patterns such as metaphors. For example, "Your mind is like a calm lake, reflecting clarity." Ambiguity and presuppositions, which bypass critical thinking and invite imagination. Double binds, offering two choices, both leading in the desired direction. Repetition and pacing, which create rhythm and expectation. Fractionation, bringing someone in and out of trance to deepen it. Confusion techniques, which overload the mind just enough to reduce resistance. The key is not control, but collaboration. The suggestions only work if they resonate with the client's goals, values, and imagination. Clinical guidelines for effective suggestions. Research and clinical wisdom both highlight a few best practices. Use positive language. Focus on what the client will experience, not what they won't. Keep suggestions in the present tense. You feel calm now rather than you will feel calm. Make them client-centered, grounded in the client's own imagery, words, and experiences. Keep it experiential, encouraging the client to feel and imagine, not just think abstractly. The stages of a hypnotic session. Let's walk through a typical hypnotic session step by step. Rapport building. The therapist establishes trust and safety. Without rapport, hypnosis doesn't work. Attentional absorption. The client is guided to focus, often on breathing, imagery, or a single sound. Hypnotic induction. Progressive relaxation, counting, or visualization helps the client enter trance. Hypnotic deepening techniques like countdowns, metaphors, or fractionation deepen the state, building a response set. The therapist encourages small agreements like nodding or moving a finger to create a momentum of responsiveness. Utilization. The therapist uses whatever the client brings, their words, imagery, even resistance, as fuel for suggestions. This was Milton Erickson's great innovation. Posthypnotic suggestions. These are suggestions designed to carry over into everyday life. For example, a client might be told, "Whenever you take a deep breath, you feel calm and in control." Closure and disengagement. Finally, the therapist gently reorients the client back to ordinary awareness, often with counting up or grounding exercises. Each stage is important, and together they create a process that is both structured and flexible. Safety and ethics. It's worth pausing to emphasize safety. Hypnosis itself is not inherently dangerous. People don't get stuck in trance. They don't lose their willpower or autonomy. But like any therapeutic tool, hypnosis can be misused. For example, poorly trained practitioners may make harmful suggestions. Therapists who push for recovered memories risk implanting false ones. Using hypnosis with individuals experiencing psychosis or hallucinations can destabilize them further. For these reasons, hypnosis should always be used by trained clinicians who understand both the power and the limits of suggestion. Key takeaways. So, let's summarize. Hypnosis works through focused attention, absorption, and suggestion. Suggestions can be direct or indirect, and skilled language use is essential. A hypnotic session follows a series of stages: rapport, induction, deepening, utilization, post-hypnotic suggestion, and closure. Hypnosis is safe when practiced by trained clinicians, but ethical practice is essential to avoid harm. In our next lecture, we'll look at what's happening inside the brain and body during hypnosis. We'll explore the functional imaging findings, which brain networks are involved, how brain waves shift, and how hypnosis influences memory and emotional regulation.